baloney. Scut Farkus.
Scut Farkus. What a rotten name. We were trapped. There he stood, between us and the alley. Scut Farkus staring out at us with his yellow eyes. He had yellow eyes, so help me God, yellow eyes.
So I've seen this man eaten by a zombie dog in Resident Evil Apocalypse. He was possessed by Freddy Krueger in Freddy vs. Jason. And with COVID this year, he's going to spend more time in your living room at Christmas than your uncle is. He's the bully with yellow eyes, played Scut Farkus in A Christmas Story, but real life, Zach Ward. Zach, welcome to Central Illinois. How are we doing, sir?
Doing great, my friend. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Freezing here. I believe you're in California, are you not?
Yes, I am. I had to put on a sweater.
Oh, yeah. I got to put on a heavy coat, gloves, and a hat. We don't have snow, but yeah, we'll rub it in a little bit. So you are a writer, director, producer, voice actor in video games, but your very first movie was A Christmas Story. How was the casting call for that? How did you hear about it?
Yeah, that's called a cattle call because they were so, I had an agent. My mom's an actress. I started acting at the age of 10, and I auditioned for a year before I got my first commercial, which I'm pretty sure was Dolly Madison ice cream. And then there's a Jell-O commercial somewhere on YouTube with me on it from the 80s. I wear a little bow tie, and oh God, the commercials from the 80s were great. It's like two old parents having a family gathering, and they're like, "Didn't you make dessert?" "No, Grandpa. I made some fun. Watch it jiggle, watch it shimmer, Jell-O gelatin, and have some fun." So yeah, brilliant stuff. Obviously, the stuff of dreams. And then little Zach Ward with a tiny nose, no glasses, and goes to bite a little pyramid of Jell-O and misses. Is like, gosh darn it! Like, it's the cheesiest, worst thing ever, and I'm so glad I got.
But those 80s commercials were like that, and I was born in 78, so I remember them young.
They were fantastically horrible. So I had done a bunch of commercials, and then when I was 13, I got an appointment for an audition, and there were hundreds of kids there, like 300-400 kids. So you walked into a room, and originally I was auditioning. My character, Scut Farkus, was the sidekick. So I really had very few lines. I had the, "Rawr, get over here. Nah, your Aunt Tilly." That was it. So I would walk into this room with a video camera there, and I would say those 3 lines, and they go, "Great, thanks, bye." And I'd walk out. And I did that about 20 times. And then I got the job. And when I went to set, they put me in wardrobe. I met Yano Anayo, plays Grover Dill. And then I went to set, and I met the director for the first time because he had been auditioning my role off of videotape, a new technology back then. And so when he saw that I was about a foot taller than Yano Anaya, he said, "You get his lines, he gets yours." And then I became Scut Farkus, yellow eyes, so help me God.
Now, I'm assuming you had those braces were yours and they didn't add them in as makeup?
Yeah. Those were my braces. I had some messed up teeth.
And then a lot of people, again, it's been a while since the movie's out. Everybody, "Oh yeah, he's got the coonskin cap." That's not a coonskin cap. What is it?
Well, that one the original was a coonskin cap.
Okay, does it look like it had the head on it on the front, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Well, I have a similar one here, but this one's fox.
Oh, okay. So, very good.
Yeah, this one's got a little fox face. But that's not a real fox's face. They just sort of manufacture this. Well, I could be wrong. This could be real. I think these are real ears. Yeah, it's kind of psychotic if you think about it. A friend of mine made this out of recycled fox fur. So don't start coming to my house and throwing red paint at my door because I didn't kill an animal. The original fur was from the 1920s and it just got repurposed. But yeah, so their first one was original, was a coonskin cap and it had a little raccoon face, I guess, on the front.
And then did you get any kind of wardrobe decisions, or they pretty much handed you these things and said, this is going to be it?
No, you try on a bunch of stuff and you see what looks good and what fits well and what you feel that looks cool. And you don't really have a lot of choice. The wardrobe mistress, they knew what they're doing. And I was a 13-year-old kid. It's not like I was
telling you didn't get a lot of call there.
Yeah. I'm not smart enough to know what to do. So, yeah, that was also clothing that was all from the time. And it was made out of wool, but like wool that wanted to murder you. It was the itchiest, most uncomfortable wool I've ever experienced in my life.
Like the old wool military blankets. That's yeah.
Exactly what it was. That's what I was thinking about. My grandfather's military outfit. Yeah, felt like that. And so I had to wear that every day. And man, did that sucker chafe. Boy.
I can only imagine.
Oh, good times. And it sucked up a lot of water too. So when you're lying on the ground doing a fight scene and you just start getting soaked deeper and deeper and deeper, good times.
Yeah, between that and getting sweaty, probably doing that, got to make you a tad bit uncomfortable.
A little bit of a horrible wedgie. Yeah.
Now, how was it with all the kids on set? Did you guys pretty much pal around the whole time once you got to know each other?
No, Bob Clark, the director, didn't want Yano and I hanging out with the rest of the kids. He wanted them to kind of create a us versus them mentality. It's not like we walked around and picked on them when we were off camera, but we didn't really hang out because, Ralph, Peter Billingsley, Ralphie, was in pretty much every scene. So he's busy every day. I've got 6 scenes. So I worked on the film over a period of 5 weeks. He worked on it for months. So we didn't really hang out. But we liked each other.
Now, I know, at least by what I read, the Ralphie, while he's hitting you, the cussing was all pretty much laid out in script. But what did they say when they kind of described the fight scene to you? Did they really lay it out well?
Not really. I got to be honest, I don't remember it. I'm sure it was done professionally to the level that they had figured out what they wanted to shoot. And if you look at the fight scene, it's pretty simplistic stuff, which is, I think, why it works. Because it's like how little kids or drunk men fight. But they had dug, in the ground behind me, they had dug a little trench and put a mattress in there. So when I fell down, I didn't get messed up, and then they covered it with fake snow. So it was cool, doing stuff like that when you're a kid made me feel like I was Evel Knievel or Steve Austin.
Yeah, it's got to be something different. Hey, the director, we need to let you to fall down and then get the crap beat out of you by this kid you've been picking on.
Right.
Was just, I guess, was the shooting of the movie and just a really good time? Was there any really memorable or funny things that happened?
Yeah. There was no snow in Cleveland and like anywhere. So we shot in Toronto, Ontario, St. Catharines, Ontario, and Cleveland, Ohio. And when we were shooting in Cleveland, it was an interesting time because it was very depressed economically. Like the downtown area where we were staying at this hotel, like most of the hotel was boarded up. You could not go outside after 6 o'clock without being swarmed by homeless people, and not in a Disney style. I mean, it was nerve-wracking. It was dangerous at night to go out unguarded without having someone around you who could protect you. Like as a kid, you could not leave the hotel by yourself at night. Very interesting world, what Cleveland, Ohio was back then, and now it's turned into this beautiful, beautiful city. but yeah, there was no snow and it was still cold as hell. And so everybody's front yard was nasty dead grass and brown. And we were walking over to set one day because, like I said, I had a lot of downtime. And oh, excuse me, late night. Anyways, we walked over to the shop behind you, right behind you.
Okay, the house.
Yeah. So the house, the exterior of the house. So just so you understand, that house was only used for the exterior shots. Nothing that was on the inside was shot there, right? So that house was on a street, and we walked over to it, and the entire house was covered in snow, looking exactly like this, with all the icicles hanging off of the tree, and it was all fake.
The movie magic.
Yeah, and it was like every other house looked like a turd, and that house looked like movie magic, and I had never seen movie magic in reality before. I'd only seen it in the movies.
Sure.
So I was seeing the trick behind the magic work, and it was really cool, man. I was like understanding how much work went into making that one shot behind you that is so iconic and really captivates everything you think about when you think of a Christmas. It's like a little shitty house, but it's all warm and snuggly inside, and that's where Christmas lives.
Talking to Zach Ward, who played Scut Farkus in A Christmas Story, just getting a lot of fascinating info. And it had to be neat, kind of walk around the corner and, like you said, see all these crap houses. And then there's this right out of Christmas Pictures, this beautiful, perfect house.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really, really cool.
Now, speaking of the house, have you visited this back in Cleveland since they've redone it and in the museum and everything else?
Many, many times. Actually, I will be there this coming Tuesday. I'll be there next Tuesday.
Wow, that's great timing for that. I haven't had a chance to get out there myself, but was reading about it, and the fact that you can even spend the night in it, and you can pick if you want to be in that house or even the Bumpus's house next door, which I thought was hilarious that they referenced both. But yeah, you can actually spend the night in the boys' beds and the whole bit. Do you stay in touch with many of the other co-stars?
Yano Anaya lives in Atlanta, Georgia. Scotty Schwartz lives here in Los Angeles. Peter Billingsley doesn't talk to anybody. Ian Petrella, who played Randy, he lives here back in Los Angeles. I talk to Scotty sometimes, and I talk to Yano, and we reach out to each other, and we're friends.
Now, of course, you're much older than you were in the movie and don't have braces, and your eyes don't look quite as yellow. But do you get recognized much, especially this time of year when you're, I know you do a lot of different events, but do you just randomly get recognized?
I mean, I did back in the day when you walked outside without a mask on.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Nobody knows anybody now. It's got to help. I think it helps all the actors right now.
Can you recognize me now? Basically what we look like nowadays. It's strange how often I get recognized, but I guess the reality is like I haven't really changed that much, I still have a very punchable face, and I think it's the red hair that people go, I want to punch that redhead. Hey, he's the guy from that movie this one time. So.
And then how often do you scream the lines?
How often do I scream the lines?
Yeah, when you first charge at them and yell and scream at them. I know that's one of the ones that from other interviews and stuff, a lot of people like, or you're known for, I guess.
I think the line I know the best is like, say uncle, or listen, jerk. It's funny because when people want an autograph signed, sometimes they'll be like, hey, write that, listen, jerk, when I tell you to come, you better come. And I'm like, listen to yourself.
Yeah, that's really a whole different area now.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's leave that for kids back in the 30s.
How about uncle instead? That'd probably be better.
I would say uncle or cry, baby, cry. I'll do that one, but No, I'm not so
Yeah.
comfortable with that. There's a lot of cancel culture, and I don't need to have someone misinterpret that statement.
Smart man. And reading through some of the other stuff too, you're the only one of any of the actors that owns their rights, their image. How did that come about?
Well, as I told you, sorry. Oh, please do not take this personally. I think
No, you're good.
I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I'm excited to be here. I just I did not get a lot of sleep. So how did that happen? Well, like I told you, I walked on set, and Bob Clark said, "You get his lines, he gets your lines," right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't change the contract. So just so you understand, Yana was making like 25 grand to do the movie. I was making $5,000 to do the movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I was Canadian, and also Yana was the kid from what is it? Not Say Anything, but he did that movie where he's the paper boy who wants the $2. Anyways, and he was also in the Van Halen music video. Got it made. I'm Hot for Teacher.
Yeah.
So he had more of a career than I did. So he had a better agent, obviously. So he was getting 25 grand to play the role that I was basically playing, minus the name. And he had in his contract, there was a rider or a sub section that addressed the rights to the likeness for toys or whatever. And in my contract, it wasn't there because my character was considered so small.
No one would want to make anything about that one.
Want to make anything about that? Who? I ask you. So yeah, they I retained the rights, and actually, there's a company called NECA, and
yep, I've read that story. That was an interesting one to follow.
Yeah, they illegally tried to get the rights to my likeness, and we fought it out in court, and they lost.
Well, but again, and it was funny because the other day I was watching a big biopic on Star Wars, and they were talking about that, how George Lucas owned so many of the actors' likenesses and that's where he all made his money. And when I read that, it was kind of surprising to see that.
Yeah, that's where Lucas made all his cash. Apparently, that's why when you look at the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, on Empire Strikes Back, it was the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Apparently, a lot of his goals was to make toyified characters, so that he would have characters that more characters in the movies made sense for the toys. So
you got to make your money some way. So I guess one of the other big questions is, of course, we're at Christmas time. Do you like this time of year? I know some people just can't stand Christmas. Do you really enjoy it?
I enjoy the people I usually get to meet during Christmas. You know, the cool thing about my career and this film is that it has become a touchstone for so many families in the country, and it connects multiple generations. So I've met people in their 80s who love the movie, and their kids, their grandkids, and their great grandkids. And that's kind of an amazing thing, that one film can connect 4 or 5 generations. And then they always greet me like I'm a long lost friend. You know, like, oh, it's good to see you again. I've never met them in my life. We watch you every year, 24-hour marathon, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, thanks. And they go, I had a BB gun when I was a kid. And the guy's like 75 years old, and he's reliving his childhood with me. And, yes, I've heard the stories over and over again. I've heard the same thing many, many times. But the way that it's said, the amount of heart that goes into it, the fact that I'm there with them in their houses when they, like you said, they're going to spend 24 hours with a stranger, when they're trying to be the best of themselves, right?
Sure.
And part of that. So that's kind of magical. Christmas itself, not a huge fan, in the sense, like, I grew up broke as hell. So a holiday about buying shit you can't afford, not my cup of tea.
But yeah, the you've helped other people make such great memories, and I get that they get to share it with you. I mean, even me just doing this interview, when I sent that out through a private message to Twitter, I know you're a busy man and got to be, especially this time of year with everybody reaching out, and was so happy to get the confirmation you want to do it. And I'm telling everybody else. And again, some people are, who is that guy? And as soon as I explain who you are, their eyes light up, and everybody knows. They may not know your name, but they know who you are.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. I get a lot of offers, a lot of requests, and I'm doing a bunch of them, to be honest with you. My father has Alzheimer's, like we discussed, and I'm raising money for his care. So this is part of that process of getting the word out there, where people can hit me up on Cameo, say howdy, hit me up on my Twitter or whatever, get a signed headshot or something, and that money goes to his dad.
And that is I can't even imagine, especially with your father. And before we came on the air, I was telling you about my dad with a surgery yesterday, and how close it sounds like you are. I mean, that's a noble goal, is to make sure he's taken care of and help with that research. Now, and I know you said you grew up very broke with your mom and that, but was there ever a present, even as you got older, like Ralphie with the BB gun? Was there something that you always wanted and then either ended up getting or didn't get?
No, there was never anything I wanted, but I got one present when I was a kid that was my favorite present of all time. I was about 6 years old, and I got a stand-up speed bag. It's the one present I ever remember my father giving me. My mom and dad were not married. My father was a draft dodger or conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. And then he went back to California when Carter granted amnesty in 1974. And so he gave me this one present I remember ever getting from him. And it's, like a speed bag.
Yeah.
That you punch.
Up on a big spring.
Yeah, on a big spring, and you stand on it and hit it like that. And because my dad had been a boxer when he was a kid, and he had shown me, there was the one thing that I remember him showing me, because we didn't spend a lot of time together when I was young. So to get that was always the coolest guy present I ever had.
Now, do you own a leg lamp?
I do. I have the little ones, but they're in my garage. I had a full-size one, a really nice one too, and it broke.
Did somebody knock it off a table, just like when it was in the front window? and you were out of super glue?
You used all the glue on purpose. No, it was, I think the bulb on the inside of the leg went out, and I tried to fix it myself, and I just messed it all up. And I was like, what do I did that. So yeah.
We'll just put that one away. Besides A Christmas Story, do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Favorite Christmas movie? What's a great Christmas movie? True Romance. That is a great Christmas movie. Definitely
not what I would expect, but no, I get it. Now, reading some stuff outside of just Christmas Story and that, your interviews, and I've watched a lot of them to research this, is you were very brutally honest with people asking about getting into Hollywood and movies.
Right.
Was it just because of your path and what you experienced?
I don't think you should waste people's time by pandering to them. I don't think anybody needs a participation ribbon. Did you ever watch Kung Fu movies when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. Yep. I loved them.
Okay. Same here. So if you remember, the way the story would always go is there's a young guy and his family is killed or whatever. And he goes to the Shaolin Temple and he says, I want to learn how to fight. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. Am I allowed to swear or am I?
I'll take care of that because it's running next week. I'll edit it down. You're fine.
Thank you. I apologize.
Nope, you're good.
You can leave that because I don't mind having the egg on my face. It's always fun.
You're fine.
So at the Shaolin Temple, he's pounding on the door and they say, get out of here, kid. And then he basically has to stay there for 3 or 4 days and they keep on telling him to go away. And finally, after about the fourth day, they say, okay, you've earned your way in. You've proven that you're serious and you have the tenacity, the temerity, the gumption to be worth our time. So come in. All right, we're going to learn Kung Fu. No, you're going to sweep the yard. And you start that way. And, that always made sense to me. It was always an apprenticeship. And I see kids now and they're like, I want to be in movies and I want to be famous. I want to be an influencer. It's like, do you have any interest in the process of making something good? Or did you just want the fame? Because that's not why I got into this business. So I don't want to turn around to a bunch of people and say, you should all be actors and actresses because it's all going to work out for you. The math sucks, dude. The math is horrendous. Out of what, 1.5 million SAG-AFTRA members, there's like 4,000 people who are rich and famous. That's insane, dude. The numbers suck. So people get into it for the wrong reasons and they don't want to do the work. They just want to reap the benefits. They don't want to, it's like the little red hen. Nobody wants to sow the wheat and do all the work. They just want to eat the frickin' bread, dude. So I'm brutal with people because I'm hoping to save them time. If I'm a little bit abrupt and unkind, if they can't take that, they've got no hope in hell of making it in this industry. And, people look at my resume and they go, wow, you've done 120 movies and 80 guest stars and you've had 4 of your own TV series and all this crap. I'm like, yeah. But for every single one of those jobs, I auditioned 20 or 30 times for stuff I didn't get.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a grind in there. You're not getting handed anything. You're busting your butt for it.
No, especially when you look like this. Nobody writes a script and goes, all right, let me see. I want a really, really good looking tall guy like Brad Pitt. No. I want this slanty eyed, punchable face, red haired dude, kind of a likable dick. Perfect. Let's make that movie. Like nobody does that, So you're constantly convincing people that you fit the box. You bring something to the table that they didn't expect. And the reason I'm brutal is if you're not willing to push past me to get what you want, go do something else, man. Don't waste everybody's time, especially not your own.
Sure. And say we have a big theater community here in Springfield. What's some other advice you could give to stage actors in that too?
I never really did stage. I'll be honest with you. I have very little experience with stage. Honestly, there wasn't enough money in it. And I know that sounds really crass, but when I was a kid, the money that I made as an actor went towards paying the rent and the food and the gas and the jacket and staying warm. It wasn't a luxury. I got one theater acting job for Jacob Tutu and the Hooded Fang. Have you ever heard of that?
That doesn't ring a bell to me, no.
I believe it's a Roald Dahl book, Jacob Tutu and the Hooded Fang. Let me look it up. Anyways, I booked the lead role, and it was a big show. Here we go. Jacob Tutu and the Hooded Fang. Yeah, it was a big show in Canada. I was very excited about this. And they told me, all right, so it's an equity play. I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. And like, so you make $275. I'm like, a day? They're like, a week.
Ouch.
Surprise. Like, what? Wait, what? And they're like, yeah, a week. And you rehearse for 6 hours a day. What? Yeah, and we're going to do this for 3 months. What? And then
holy cow.
And then when you're performing it, you make like $80 a performance. What? Like I looked at that, I was like, who does this? This is crazy.
Now, how do you survive?
How do you know who can do that? People whose family can support the child.
Makes sense.
Like a normal family. And I was like, thank you so much for the opportunity. But hell no,
I've got to eat.
I got to eat, dude. Like I do one commercial and I make, back then you could do a commercial and make $10,000, and then you're paying rent for a year, dude, and eating, and that's life, you know? So I didn't really get into theater because I could not afford to do theater, if that makes sense.
Of course. No, and you do a lot. You're an actor, director, producer, like I said, even a voice actor, done some video games. Of those, is there anything you would like to do most or would steer somebody to do, even if it's not acting, is some of the behind the camera stuff?
Writing is great. Writing is awesome. It's also very, very hard and isolating. Editing is great. If you can get on Premiere Pro through Adobe Cloud and get the Premiere Pro program on your laptop, learning how to edit something is an amazing journey to understand yourself as an actor and as a writer and as a director. It really shows you the control you have. There's a really, years ago, they did a little YouTube video came out, and it was from Star Wars. It was, I think it's called Darth Vader's a Jerk. Have you seen that one?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's literally, it's like one of, so funny, I gotta look it up. It's got one of the military guys from the Imperial military guys, high end, and he's coming over to talk to Lord Vader. And the door opens, and he steps in, and apparently Vader's in this big egg-shaped thing that goes up and down. Dun, 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 dun. And he's slowly, you know, he's doing the, what is it you want, Colonel? This type of thing. And, and the guy's at the door up here, and Vader's over here, and the thing has gone up. He's like, what does you want? He's like, Lord Vader, the thing is doing the thing. And right in the middle of the conversation, they edit it and reverse it. So in the middle of a sentence, he just slowly looks away, and the guy is like, what do I do? And then Vader turns back, and the guy looks at him and is like, well, the thing is, and then he turns away again. And it's hilarious. It's so simple, but it's hilarious. I laugh at it every time, and it's literally all in the edit. So the editing decides the entire reality of what you're seeing, and I think that's a great education for a writer or an actor or a director, is understanding and perceiving yourself through the editor's lens.
And it's funny because you look back and like you talked about when they first started shooting Christmas Story, is it was a VHS camera and all this stuff, and now everything's digital, and any kid can buy Adobe and record their own stuff and edit and make these wonderful things and put online. So it's so much easier to at least people to put their stuff out there and maybe get discovered.
I mean, you know, yeah, when we did A Christmas Story, the audition was done on videotape. Oops, sorry, that's going to play. I actually put up Darth Vader as a jerk. It just cracks me up. Yeah, the audition was on a VHS videotape, and but the movie was on 35 millimeter on Panavision cameras. So, I mean, people don't remember that back then it's on a 35 mil camera. You can only buy them from Panavision or Arriflex or rent them. You have to have a full team. You have to have these lenses that cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. To yell action on something costs a lot of money. You could shoot some things on a hand-cranked Bolex 8 millimeter or 16 millimeter, but to make a movie, something that's got a production value, costs a lot of cash. And now, literally,
yep, it's insane.
It's insane. And so that's the other thing that I give people pushback when they talk about wanting to get into the industry. I'm like, well, you have it right there.
Yeah, it's in your pocket. It's in your hand. Use it.
If you really wanted to do it, you would. I think you just want to have your parents pay for film school. So, yeah, it's very, very different. It's very different what you can teach yourself to do and what you can learn by studying. It's kind of awesome.
Now, I know you're from Canada. I'm a big hockey guy, and as I was reading some other stuff around, I noticed you teamed up with Bernie Nichols. What, and I kind of read it, but what exactly is this you're doing?
I love the suspicion in your voice. Are you not a Bernie Nichols fan?
No, it just, you two linking together, and I read the description of what this is, but I don't 100% get it, maybe.
Sure. And by the way, I am not currently working with that company. All Sports Market, the stock market of sports teams. It's actually very cool. Go to allsportsmarket.com. You get a free account, and then you can figure out how it works. And very basically, like, so, what's your favorite team?
St. Louis Blues.
Great. Okay. So let's say the St. Louis Blues, are they a very successful team?
Last year, well, year ago before the lockdown, they won the cup.
Oh, they did. Great. Okay. It shows you how little I know about sports.
That's all right.
So let's compare them to the Patriots. The Patriots have like dominated the Super Bowl for years, right? So we'll assume that if they had a stock price, it would be pretty high. Just like what's that? San Francisco team, the
49ers.
the basketball team.
I don't know basketball. I only know hockey.
Not bad on them at all.
That shows how good this is.
Yeah. So, anyways, the point is, you could bet on a team in normal life, and if they win, you win. But if they lose, you lose your money. Or you could invest in the team. So you could buy shares in the team, and as the team is playing games, the shares ebb and flow based upon their performance and based upon how the market is responding. Like, what if one of the guys on your favorite team does something super cool for a kid with cancer and gets a whole bunch of press, and people are like, what a great guy. I want to buy into that team. I like them. All right. So your shares are going up and up and up. And then your team goes to the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup and they win. Okay. Well, now your shares have gone from here to here, and you can keep your shares, or you could sell some of the shares, or you could just sell them all, or you could hold on to them. And then during the off season, your shares may continue to grow. As more people buy into the stock market, then your shares have a higher value because there's less content out there of a limited amount of shares. Okay. And then you own them in perpetuity. If the team leaves that town and changes its name and goes somewhere else, your shares travel with that team's intellectual property. So it's a way to create a synthetic derivative of a marketplace.
Okay.
And it's a great alternative to gambling. I'm not against gambling, but I think it's sort of it's been around a long time. Gambling made Vegas, and the stock market made the world. So that's how I got involved with Bernie, lovely guy. And the whole COVID thing kind of put the kibosh on the process for a while. And right now, the company's waiting for their SEC regulation, because the whole goal is to make it go 100% realistic and around the world, and that takes time and money. So
wow,
that's what we're up to.
What other projects are you got in the pipeline or coming up right now? I know COVID stalled a lot of things, or at least probably slowed some things down for sure.
I directed a feature film that I wrote called Patsy Lee and the Keeper of the Five Kingdoms. And it's the Goonies meets Dark Crystal, starring James Hong from Big Trouble in Little China. It's a kids in a small town in Arizona get transferred into a mythological Chinese world, and filled with monsters and wizards and little people wearing animatronic heads. And it's pretty freaking cool. It's awesome. So,
is there a release date on that yet, or is it kind of on hold?
Yeah, we're in post right now, so we're finishing off our visual effects and our score and color correction and working through that. So yeah, it's pretty.
That had to be fun in the role you're doing with that.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, making movies is hard, and sometimes it's really hard. And this one's been difficult for a plethora of reasons. But the cool thing is, it's really worth it. This is a low budget feature. This is not a $100 million movie, and usually fantasy films of this ilk are made between the $20 to $50 million price range, and we're under $1 million. We're under We're under 300,000, bro. So it's amazing. Like I've been working in the business for 41 years now, and here in LA for 25 years. God, I sound old. Anyways, I know a lot of people who do a lot of cool stuff, and I know a lot of guys who do practical effects and build really neat stuff. And so we have like this full animatronic tortoise style puppet that is very similar to like a Yoda. And a friend of mine, Jerry Constantine, built it. And you gotta understand that a puppet like this with animatronic and robot servers where it moves its mouth and its eyes go around and blink, that's like 150 grand, $200,000 puppet. And I'm getting it at a price that I'm not going to reveal, but it's like, what? Yeah. Okay. So I'll put it this way. I got a Lamborghini for the price of a Yugo.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
And see, my younger listeners won't know what a Yugo is, but I sure do.
What's a shitty car? Yeah, no. I got a Lamborghini for the price of an Uber.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So it's gift upon gift upon gift, and
but sometimes that's those low budget films turn out to be some of the coolest ones, and I wish you the best with that, and I hope it is. Can't wait to see it. Again, you mentioned your dad going through Alzheimer's, trying to raise money for that. If you want to put out different ways that my listeners can go help with that, please go for it.
Can you put like a Chiron? Can you put like a
Yep,
thing?
I can put on the video, and I'll make sure I'll get links out when I put it on Facebook.
Okay. If you go to cameo.com/Darth Farkus. Yes, Darth Farkus. Yeah, as if Scut Farkus was a Sith Lord. Come on.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. It's also my gamer tag, so I'm pretty dope like that. You go to cameo.com, Darth Farkus. Look me up, and I'll send you a cameo, or hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Total Zach Ward, and say howdy if you want a signed autograph photo or something like that.
Well, hopefully, just by this, with everybody being in the Christmas spirit, can either get a cameo done, get a picture or something, and definitely help doing that. I say you're doing amazing work, and sounds like it's definitely not easy. I couldn't imagine it, but it sounds like doing your best you can.
That's all we can do. Honestly, the people who work in the assisted living facilities and take care of these people 24/7, the people who have, I can't have my dad live with me because he needs 24-hour care and level of support that I'm not physically or financially able to give him in my house. But there's a lot of families who just make it work, and dude, it's hard. I have so much respect for what they do. It's really, really hard, and I wish them the greatest of Christmases, because
well, and again, hopefully we can support some of that with this interview, get some people interested. Again, Zach, thanks for all your time. I know you're a stupid busy man, especially now with everybody wanting to talk about Christmas Story and all the other stuff you're going on.
Well, you're half right. I am stupid.
I would never call you that. No, your Twitter stuff is great. And I know you're, again, the long list of stuff you got to IMDb. I was shocked at as many things, but I recognize you from, like I said at the beginning, Resident Evil and Freddy versus Jason. And I'm a big horror guy, so that stuff always attracts me. But fantastic talking to you today. Thank you so much for all your time.
My pleasure, brother. You have a fantastic time. Merry Christmas to all. To all, good night.
Zach, again, your family as well. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.